Welcome back to the Daily Drum on WHUR and Sirius XM channel 141. This is the Insight segment. I'm Harold Fisher. It's the most wonderful time of the year, a time to celebrate with feasting, with family, office parties, and lots of seasonal palate pleasing. Wonderful until you notice in short order that you've put on the pounds between Thanksgiving and New Year's Day, that you have to loosen the belt a bit more, that the Spanx are feeling like they're spanking you around the midsection. So what do you do to keep it under control during the season of giving yourself extra pounds and inches when you really don't want to? Well, I have a pair of health and fitness experts to get you through it all. My guests are Cootie Mack, health and fitness advocate and nutritionist, and health journalist Dr. Rovinia Brock, also known as Dr. Ro. She's also the host of the new Everything Row show on Sirius XM channel 141. We're going to talk about that in just a bit. Thank you both for joining this conversation. It's so important to make sure that we try to stay slim and svelte, or at least think we can. Look, I am a believer. I'm a true believer. Even though some of the sins that I've committed at the holiday dinner table need to be confessed, but let me
tell Harold.
Yeah, do tell. Let me tell you, I'm actually not doing too terribly bad, but I do want to start with a couple of a few fast facts before we get into some of the questions. 2/3 of people admit to overindulging in food, with 22 to 28% eating a lot more during the holiday season. Nearly half of the people gain 4 to 9 pounds. 18% gain 10 to 15 pounds during the holiday, and nearly 45% take a break from exercise, and 64% struggle to prioritize regular workouts. Before I start talking about all the things that we seem to be doing wrong, I want to ask you, Dr. Ro, what is your go-to big temptation food during the holidays that you have to give a side eye to sometimes?
I would say lately it's been ice cream.
Really?
Yeah, I really dig creamy mango. Haagen-Dazs creamy mango. Chocolate used to be my thing because I'm a chocolate lover. But I would say, yeah, I had some recently, but it's not the end of the world. That's not what we're talking about. And there's no reason why you can't. In fact, what I wanted to say today is plan for small indulgences. Yes, okay. Plan for those small indulgences, because then later on, after the dinner or after or at the holiday party or wherever you end up, you'll find yourself satiated that you had something. So if you plan for the indulgences of small indulgences for things that are really your favorites, that's part of your strategy. So I hope tonight, so my message tonight is about strategy. You need a strategy, and you need a navigation system.
Listen, I'm always trying to look at my GPS when it comes to eating right. Sometimes I get lost.
Yeah.
But I keep looking. What about you, Cootie? What is your the thing that tempts you the most during the holiday season?
Tempts me the most during the holidays, I would say it's the sweet beverages, because those things stack up on you really quick and quicker than you would imagine. And generally speaking, I mean, I always make no exception to myself versus anyone else. I'm just as susceptible to all this stuff as anybody else, even though I may have learned to have managed it. But I always tend to manage it a lot better than when I get to the holidays, mostly because with the holidays, like if I don't drink. We talked about that at, dry January. I don't drink. So it's the mocktails and all these things, but those tend to have, juice and high sugar in them. So, but I've learned as of late how to kind of even thin that out. But I would say it's the beverages, because once you get started on that stuff, it's really hard not to stop. And that's the whole challenge, like Dr. Rowe was talking about, planning on these indulgences. And I agree with her. And there is a way to navigate it. But if you just say, I'm just going to go in, we're addicted to sugar. All of us are, naturally. So if we jump in to our addiction to say, oh yeah, I'm just going to have a little bit of, I always say, if you take a cokehead and just and say, okay, here's a whole pile of Coke, but just take a little bump.
Coca-Cola.
Yeah, cokehead, and it's just there.
Well, we can't say cocaine on this show.
Sugar and cocaine are very close in terms of the way they hit the brain.
Absolutely.
Yes,
they affect the brain in the same way.
Matter of fact, the things that fire off are even more brilliant when it's sugar. And I can tell you that because that's the way I was with the hot line, the hot light at Krispy Kreme back in the day.
Yes.
That hot light, all bets were off. All bets were off.
I didn't know that you were a Krispy Kreme addict.
Oh my gosh, man! Yeah, I was the worst sugar addict ever. I was Pookie, like that. That's why I know when I'm talking to other people, I absolutely can relate because I've been there.
But I think people can appreciate that because they know once they know you've been there, you see them. You have the ability to see them in ways that other people may not because they haven't been there.
Yeah.
Listen. I used to go to restaurants, and I would judge restaurants even to this day. I judge restaurants by their desserts.
Wow.
I would know what I want for dessert before I even knew what I was going to order on the plate. So I was that guy. So all that said, yes, in the holidays, it's the sweet drinks for me because it'll be even juice, even fruit juice. It's got a ton of sugar in it.
Yes, it
really
does.
Yeah. 22
to 29 grams in one 8-ounce serving.
And
more.
Look at your bottle of sparkling grape juice or sparkling apple cider. You'd be stunned.
Yeah, let me ask you this, Dr. Rowe, because you were talking about strategy or plan. Kind of give me some foundational stuff for strategizing when you look at the next several weeks leading up to the week after New Year's, because if you don't have a plan, then
you plan to fail.
Exactly.
If you don't have a plan, you plan to fail. So, well, I think so. First of all, plan for enjoyment, not restriction. That's a big point. Plan to enjoy like a small portion of your favorites. So if you're at the holiday table, there's a whole smorgasbord. And if we talking Black folks, so it's a lot, right? And so out of that smorgasbord, there may be some things, there may be some foods or desserts that you really like, right? So have a small portion of, say, 2 or 3 of your favorites. Just a small, and it's key that you really hone in on this portion size, because I didn't say eat the whole dessert. What I said is, portion have a small serving. It could be a couple of bites. It could be 2 or 3 bites, right? Out of something that you really love, if it's a dessert. If it's a food and you know that the sweet potatoes are loaded in sugar and butter and all those things, then maybe you have a spoonful as opposed to, 2 cups. The other thing is if you're at the party, so whether it's a holiday meal with the family or at a party, proximity to the food table matters, right? I want you to be able to navigate your way through this thing as well as plan for, these the way you're going to approach it. So the thing is, you don't stand next to the food table, to have your conversation. Socialize elsewhere, right? Because the proximity matters, and it helps you it kind of leads you to, if you stand too close to the food table or the bar, it leads you to overindulge. So it leads you to overindulge. So if you then move your conversation over to the other side of the room, and that keeps you from focusing on, oh my God, on loading your plate. Another strategy is to do the go with the 80-20 rule. Like 80% of the time. And this is the holiday season, because holidays are filled with, travel, but they're also filled with stress, and they're also filled with lots of food and a lot of special foods, things that are heavily, there's a lot of butter and there's a lot of sugar. And these are foods that you may not eat on a regular basis. So it's the holidays and you want to take part in it because it's special, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the thing. You have to learn how to not only navigate this thing, but excuse me, but you also have to have a strategy. So one of my favorite tips is, like, after the meal, if this is a holiday meal with the family, after the meal, go for a walk, 10 to 20 minutes. Just a 10-minute walk can lower your blood sugar.
Yeah.
And it's effective,
Yeah.
right?
Let me ask Cootie what would be his strategy as well, because I've got a few minutes, but I want to make sure we also have a chance to talk about your show too, Dr. Rowe, before the break.
Mm-hmm.
But Cootie, talk to me about your strategy.
So my strategy, I love what Dr. Rowe is talking about in terms of how to mentally approach the situation. What I always want people to remember is a lot of this, we joked around about addiction before, but the addiction is real. And when it comes down to addiction, portion control is a thing, but it's hard to tell an addicted person not to do more of the thing they're addicted to when they're exposed or have access to it. So what I always want to remind people of is give yourself some grace. Your mind has something to do with it, but even your mind and your mental processes, even those are biological events. There's biological impulses, there's hormones, and there's neurology, all these things that are kicking in that are telling your body what to do. So what I like to do is I like to set up people with a game plan, like Dr. Rowe's talking about, that's biological. And one thing you'll always hear me talk about, no matter what the topic is juicing vegetables. We've talked about this on the show before. Harold, it's like, just if you have a juicer, if you don't know about it, just DM me at Cootie Mac. I'll tell you all about it. But get a juicer, not a blender. Get a juicer that separates the liquid from the pulp and juice vegetables. If you just juice regularly, and I can tell you how, if you just juice regularly, that alone is going to set you on the right path from a health perspective in general. But if you juice especially right before you go out to an event, so let's say you juice, you're at home, you get 10 ounces of cucumber and spinach juice with a little bit of ginger, bang that out, and then head out to your event. About 15, 20 minutes before you get to the event, what's going to happen is your body's going to have nutrition is going to be coursing through your veins in the most purest way possible, aside from an IV. Now, with that said, your body now is no longer craving the energy that sugar would give it. So because it's not craving the energy, when you'll see the stuff that appeals to you, but you will all of a sudden have a bunch of discernment. You'll see it and go, oh man, those cookies look great. Maybe I'll get those after. All of a sudden, those decisions become a lot easier because we beat ourselves up thinking it's a willpower thing. It's not a willpower thing.
No.
When you're craving sugar, it's an energy impulse. It's like your body's gas light or your body's fuel light is on E, and it's like, I need fuel now. Think about it.
It's almost like going to the grocery store hungry.
Exactly.
When you go to the grocery store,
so you just buy everything. So
you're going to buy everything.
You ever open up the refrigerator when you think you're hungry or thirsty, and there's food and beverage in the fridge, and you go, ain't nothing to eat in here. Anytime you do that, pay attention, open it up and look at what you see. What you'll see is you probably have a bunch of water in there, maybe some milk, the veggies and fruits that I recommended, and that's about it. There's no leftover cheesecake. There's no sugar. The thing that you're looking for is sugar. And even if it's fruit, you'll see diced pineapple and say an apple or berries, and you'll grab the diced pineapple because there's more sugar there. That's a biological impulse. That's not a psychological impulse.
Let me ask you, and we'll come back to all of this, but I want to talk real quick about everything, Rowe. Talk to me about the genesis of this show, Dr. Rowe, real quick.
So Everything Rowe is born out of my desire to have my own radio show for like years. The last time I had my own radio show was in '99, I want to say. So for years, I started a year ago at a small station in Charlottesville with a morning show, and I left the morning show, and lo and behold, a year later, here I am with you on Sirius.
What
on
is
the very same
that
channel.
we'll get on Everything Row?
Everything Row is all about food and health, but it's also, but when I say health, I'm talking about mental and physical health, and also relationships. We want to give you relationship help, it's really the show to help you get to the best version of yourself. So I want to help you navigate getting to your best self, because we're all in the process, if we're honest, of doing that. And so all of the information we have dope guests. So there's a powerful guest that brings a message. And then I'm giving you all your nutrition, all your food and health stories and help. And on the side, we got a shot of relationship help. If you looking for a boo, if you just want to make your relationship better, maybe you already got hooked up, but it's not going the way you want it to go. Maybe we can help you. We can give you some words of advice and encouragement to try some new things and give that will give your relationship a new lease,
some new energy.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
Energy.
I've got to take a break. I'll talk a little bit more about that. I think the subtext should be Everything Row, Black Don't Crack. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in just a minute. The Original Quiet Storm with Raheem Devon is next on WHUR-FM. We'll be back on Sirius XM Channel 141 in just a few seconds. Welcome back to the Daily Drum on Sirius XM Channel 141. I'm Harold Fisher. We continue our conversation about healthy eating and fitness during the holiday season. My guests are Cootie Mack, health and fitness advocate, and Dr. Rowe, host of the new Everything Row program on Sirius XM Channel 141. Real quick, Dr. Rowe, before the break, you were talking about your the new program.
Yes.
And what is it that you believe, aside from relationship advice, because you mentioned new booze, old booze?
Yeah, there's a lot of people out here in search of them.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
a lot.
I like the thing that you were saying about healthy information, not just for the body, but for the soul, for the spirit.
Yes, because as an emotional eating coach, since that's my specialty, I recognized a very long time ago that your food decisions have a genesis, right? An origin. And your choices, your food choices, the people that I coach, the food choices are connected to what happened to them or did not happen for them. It's connected to past trauma. It's connected to something early in life that happened, some life event or events that happen that lead them to make the food choices that they make today. So that's a mental and an emotional response, because that's what's happening, right? It's happening in your mind. It's happening in your heart, because, so, and a lot of people haven't connected with, the two things. They don't see their food choices as being a part of their mental health. But the fact is, it is all mental health for the most part. If we're talking about emotional eating and stress eating and all that stuff is emotional.
Yeah.
And you need to, so my job is to connect the dots between what your event was or events were to where you are today, where you find yourself standing in front of the refrigerator looking for a pint of Ben & Jerry's as your two best friends.
Cootie, I want to talk to you a little bit about liquids again, because we didn't finish that before the break.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I find particularly fascinating is that I've met some people who say, I don't like drinking water. I've heard this for years. I do not understand that, but I'm not going to yuck their yum. Well,
yeah, and I'm not here to what are we beverage shame, but what I'll say is this: we talked about it before, and it keeps coming up. We're addicts. If you change the subject to something else, you change something more nefarious. Give a person who's an alcoholic a glass of water. Tell them, see how they react. Or even after, let's not even make it that nefarious. How about when you've been drinking juice, then you get a glass of water, it tastes nasty to you, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what it is. That's addiction speaking. So the beauty of it is, though, there are ways to actually bridge that gap. I was talking about even for myself in the holidays, me trying to bridge the gap between drinking these sugary juice drinks versus, drinking water and things that are better for you. So what you can do is you can have sparkling water. You can have sparkling water with a twist of lemon or lime. I'm not a huge fan of the sparkling waters that come flavored because your taste buds don't lie. If you taste something sweet or taste some kind of essence of something, you flip over the bottle and all it says is natural flavors. Come on, man. You know what I mean? And they say it's sugar-free, but there's sugar in there. So what you do is, but you can flavor things with natural stuff like fruit. So you can take some fruit and infuse that into your water. You can infuse it into sparkling water. You can get an herbal tea. One of my favorite things to do is get like a hibiscus tea because it has that nice red fruit punch color to it. And get a hibiscus rose hips tea. Just let that steep for a minute. And just like you would make an Arnold Palmer with, black tea and some lemonade, you just get some hibiscus tea, you can throw a little, like maybe make it 3 parts hibiscus tea, 1 part your favorite lemonade or fruit juice. You've already cut the water, you already cut the sugar down 75% for what you're drinking. You will taste it. I promise you will taste it. And it's going to look fancy too. So those are the things that when you smell fruit punch, you actually kind of taste it too. Hibiscus tea will do that for you. And it does a whole bunch of great things for your body at the same time. So
what impact do you believe that has on weight gain or weight loss?
Oh, because it is so easy. It is so easy to drink calories. And I'm not a calorie counter. Because it's just, we can talk about why later, but I'm not a calorie counter. If you're doing what you're supposed to do and doing what you should do, calories won't be a huge function in what we're talking about. However, when you're drinking, you're drinking a bottle of 18 ounces of juice. If you're thirsty, you'll down that in one sitting. And that's really 2 servings of about 35, 40 grams of sugar. When you really only need 10 grams of sugar or less per serving of what you're eating or drinking. So it's the easiest way because you don't have to chew it or navigate it. So it doesn't feel as cumbersome on your system, but it is just as nefarious to your system in terms of your sugar levels. Excess sugar that sits in your system turns into fat. That's just what happens. So you're pounding all these drinks. That's why when I've got, clients who are drinking, sodas and diet sodas and things of that nature, we still have to work off of that kind of stuff too, because that stuff works against you.
Yeah. I want to talk about fitness as well. And I'll start with you, Dr. Rowe, because during the holidays, perhaps more than any other time of the year, Black women may not make it to the gym or may not decide to walk around the block. But let's just talk about, those who always seem to find excuses for not going to the gym. For as long as I have known you, you have always had a natural hairstyle. You had braids. And aside from the fact that they've always been exquisitely coiffed.
Well, thank you.
I would imagine that those natural hairstyles will, help. That's not an excuse for you not going to the gym. Your hair is a natural hairstyle, so you don't have to worry about it. For women who may be using relaxers or press, they're like, gosh, I just spent, $180 on my hair. And now you want me to go to the gym and sweat it out.
Yeah.
What help do you offer for those sisters who are trying to get to the gym?
So first of all, I'm not going to throw my sisters under the bus.
Right.
Okay. So, we're not going to do that. But I will say that hair has stood between us and our health historically. It has. That said, there are a gazillion number of natural hairstyles, if that's where you want to go with it. All kinds of protective hairstyles. But I think this problem is bigger than hair, right? Because what we have to do, I'm talking to my sisters, what we have to do is get to the place where we love ourselves enough to take care of ourselves. And we're so busy taking care of everybody else except us. Do you understand? So we're last on the list. And I know it's not an overstatement. But I know this concept gets overstated a lot, but it's because it's true. So for sisters who are concerned about their hair, first of all, I'm more concerned about my heart, my liver, my kidneys, my lungs. Do you understand? When my husband was alive, he would say to me, by the time I, got down to your hair, I had already made my decision. So you know what I'm saying? So if you got somebody who's looking for hair, you got the wrong one, right? You need to be looking for another. So sisters, my plea to you is to put you first, put yourself first, and recognize that you are worthy of everything that you do to take care of yourself, and to do that in front of, before taking care of everybody else.
Mm-hmm. As a dude, can I just chime in really quick? Look, there is nothing more impressive or amazing than a woman who from the inside out is just like, I'm that. Yes. And so when you take care of yourself from the inside out, what I tell people all the time is, and Harold and I were talking about some things, pharmaceutical interventions and things of that nature, but I'm always, okay, let's see where nature can take us first, because when you do that, it's so intrinsic, you feel it. And when you feel that, it radiates. Radiates. So before you even, like you said, Dr. Rowe, before you even get to the hair and everything, the way you walk when you know you're doing the right thing, the way you walk when you know you've applied yourself to yourself, it emanates in a way that before you even get to whatever the outward presentation is, people are going to be magnetized by it. I've seen it happen to client after client after client where they just get started. And once they just start juicing, like I talked about, 11 days in, they'll be like, man, somebody just asked me what I was doing. And they've only lost the first 2 or 3 pounds that they were going to lose. But just because they had started to invest in themselves, it just starts to radiate. And then they start to feel it and they just start to walk it from there. And it'll affect everything. And the other thing, if we're talking about sisters specifically, man, another thing I adore about sisters is how versatile the options are for you to use the French word that, and since we're doing bilingual stuff here, to coif your hair.
I like so many options.
Y'all got so many options. And I mean, it's funny because I see men kind of starting to dive into that too. Men have all kinds of fiction that they rocking with, but I missed that boat here. So it's like, but women have so many options. So don't limit yourself. And the healthiest you will always be the most beautiful you.
Absolutely.
And this is a thing when we're talking about, for example, biology, where Dr. Rowe, women of a certain age, those who are over 40, over 50, and they start talking about perimenopause, they're talking about menopause and all of those other things, and compounded with the temptation of holiday eating. How do they, if they can't lose, which is that may be a goal, if not to gain or to maintain, at least now, what do you tell them? Because I know that is a struggle for a lot of women.
So it's small things. It's the small things and the consistency that really matters, right? Eat before you go. Like, so if you're going to a holiday meal, if you're going to a holiday party, eat before you go. Have a small meal of healthy fats and lean protein. It reduces hunger and overeating later. So, and another one is the half plates strategy. So the half veggie plate strategy. I want you to fill your plate up with 50%, half of it just vegetables. right? Vegetables and salad, because and I'm saying for this particular time. This is a strategy for this time, right? And then you fill the other one up with, healthy protein. So lean protein. So that's 1/4, and then the final fourth, if you want whole grains as your fourth option, you can do that. But if you fill up your plate with half of it vegetables and you dive into those, first of all, it fills you up, and because vegetables have fiber, so it fills you up and it keeps you from getting hungry, and it keeps you from pigging out on or overeating foods that you don't normally eat in the first place, and that you didn't use the strategy to limit your portions for. So yeah, I say fill up with half your plate on vegetables, and you can add salads to that. Definitely eat before you go. Then the thing is to stay in the lane of things like lean proteins and fibrous vegetables, and watch the sauces that you might ladle on to some of those foods, right? Because therein lies a lot of sometimes unhealthy fat and definitely sugar, because it's everywhere. Yeah.
And that's one of the other things when we talk about, and I'm not even talking about sugar cootie, but these holiday foods, the dressings, stuffing, fight me over what you want to call it, I don't care. Depends on what side of town you're from. But you've got the ham, and then you've got smoked turkey, fried turkey, smothered turkey, and and because we're talking about Black folks, and it's just for those of us who are blessed to have a big spread for these holiday dinners. And sometimes people say, well, I'm just going to have a little bit of everything. But once you have a little bit even of everything, that everything may consist of 2 platefuls.
Yeah, choose your 3 things though. Don't have not everything.
Well, here's how you do it. I actually have a holiday eating guide. So if anybody wants to just find out, again, DM me, just put Daily Drum in the DM. I'll know exactly what you're asking for, right?
Cool.
So, and it's at Kutimack, KUTIMACK, across all socials. So my holiday eating guide is a lot like what Dr. Rose talked about. So half a plate, make it raw veggies or fruit. So if there's a fruit tray, if there's a vegetable tray, if there's salad's the easiest way. But if there's any of those other things I mentioned, make that half of your plate. Think of your plate as a pie chart. Another quarter, like Dr. Rose said, have that be a cooked veggie option. So they got roasted Brussels sprouts or bean, casserole, whatever that is. That last quarter, just like Dr. Rose talked about, whatever you want. Whatever it is, if it's your mama's sweet potato pie, if it's or the sweet potato casserole, if it's mac and cheese, if it's some turkey, if it's some ribs. I went to a Thanksgiving dinner that was outstanding, and on the appetizer table was ribs. Oh my! Them ribs were banging. I had them.
They were probably baby back ribs.
And they said, yeah, that's the appetizer. I said, wait, there's more than this? It was ribs, wings, all kinds of stuff. So if I had not set my plate up that way, I'd have been in a world of hurt. So if you go back for seconds, you apply the same ratio. Half fruit, veggies, whatever, stuff that you enjoy, and pick stuff that you like. If you don't like celery, don't put celery on your plate. If you don't like carrots, don't do that either. Pick what you like, but there is at least one vegetable that you can tolerate. So you get the veggie tray, half of that, you get cooked veggies, and then the other quarter, whatever you want to eat. And then when you're drinking, talking about the beverages, like you mentioned, Harold, earlier, drink water the first time. The next time, drink whatever you're going to drink. Drink water the second time. The next time, drink just go back and forth, alternating with a glass of water. And that'll help dilute things. Then in terms of activity, Dr. O talked about taking a 10, 20-minute walk afterwards. For people who are just like, man, I don't have time, or I don't feel like working out because it's too cold outside. Look, I can be a snowflake like that too. I run a lot, but if it's raining or sleeting or something, nah, I'm good. But you know what I got? I got a set of stairs. I'll just set my timer or set my playlist like 3 songs. And for 3 songs, I'm just going to walk all the way up and all the way down the stairs until those 3 songs are over. Well, see, you'll be amazed at how just that 6-10 minutes will make you feel in the sweat that you break, or just the heart rate, how you get your heart rate up, just simply walking up and down the stairs.
No, and these are things that anyone can do. Anyone can do. You can start there. Seriously.
Yeah.
So you took my question, Dr. Rowe, because I was going to ask how should, and I'll stick with, with women, how should they get started? We've spoken about, the mental piece, we've spoken about the nutrition, but especially when, some sisters, they'll say, I can afford to go to the gym. I can. But when I get there, if it's not something that I'm familiar with, just give me a couple of pointers for them when they see the elliptical machine, the treadmill, the free weights, the circuit, wherever they go, whether it's Lifestyle Fitness, Planet Fitness, or whatever. When they first walk in the door, how should they start? Especially, look, they're going to start in December. They're not going to get caught up in the after New Year's craze. They're going to start now.
Well, first of all, they should start now, because you don't want to wait until after the holiday is over. You start now to develop those habits of consistency, and the better habits, that will take you through your journey, so that, it doesn't have to be a big, brouhaha that is the reason you start. Again, you're going to start for the reason. The reason is you. Okay. This isn't about holidays. This isn't about celebrating holidays or any of that. This is about the reason is you. You want to be the healthiest you can be, right? And so you start where you are. So we are here now, right? Cootie just gave you a great strategy that any beginner could start. You can walk up and down stairs, unless there's something else going on. Okay. So barring that, you could walk up and down stairs and get your heart rate up, like, as he said. The thing is, you have to, this begins, this is mindset work for me. It's mindset work, because you have to put yourself in the mindset that you are worthy. You are worth making these small changes that we're asking you to make. You are worth this, right? Because, what's the alternative? You break your leg and don't recover, or have a bad recovery, or what is the alternative to you making these small changes, right? What's the alternative? You're not going to get better by not doing it,
right? But I don't want to lose the point of, because, like I said, we did talk about the mindset, and we spoke about the nutrition.
Yes.
So when whoever she is, she walks in that door, she has made the decision to walk into the gym, and she's standing at the counter. She has her membership. And if she doesn't have a trainer and she's doing it on her own, what is the first thing you believe? Should she go to the treadmill? I think
that's a great place to start. You can start with the treadmill. You can start with the elliptical, because both are safe bets for you to start. For anybody who hasn't been working out, if you've not been working out, you've not been doing anything, then yes, start there. Start by taking the walk and start on the treadmill. If you want to escalate, then maybe move over to the elliptical to liven up the workout, so that it won't be boring for you, right? That's always a concern for many people. Working out and walking on the treadmill, minute after minute after minute gets boring, right? But so, yes, I would say that's an excellent place to start. But let me just say this. You mentioned women in their 40s, 50s, and okay. So we need some strength training in here. Okay. Absolutely. We have to have strength training. I need my sister, this same one that just walked in the door. I need you to pick up some weights, free weights. Start small. Maybe they're 5-pound weights, right? You can ask anybody in the gym, because you're saying she's in a commercial gym.
Right.
Yeah. So ask anybody who works in the gym to demonstrate for you, or to help you to understand how you do, like, what exercises can I do, whether it's, with dumbbells, what exercises could I do with that. But so you start there, because what you want to do is you want to build muscle, you want to up your metabolism. You see what I'm saying? You want to keep your metabolism from dipping, and you need to build muscle, because if you're going to be, if you're in your 40s and you're in your 50s, mobility becomes a thing, a real thing, right? And if you want to have good mobility and stability, you need to build muscle. And because after age 30, we start losing muscle every decade, like a lot. So the point is, in order to have a healthy body, I need you to work all of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
real quick, Cootie, I'll let you have the last word. I've got about a minute.
Really quick gym hack from a trainer, the whole nine. And I'm 53. I've trained people, my peers, older, younger. I got clients as seasoned as 89 currently that are killing it, right? So you go into the gym, you don't know what to do. It's like pulling up Netflix, not knowing what you want to watch. You're just going to be scrolling forever. All right. So first and foremost, you want to warm yourself up, whatever that is. If it's getting on the treadmill, like we talked about, just 5 minutes. You don't have to do a bunch of stretching yet. Just warm yourself up. Like Dr. Rose said, especially if we're talking about women, if we're talking about women in their 40s and 50s, but men too, because what's happening for both of us, we're having hormonal shifts. And these hormonal shifts are weakening our bones, and things that strengthen our bones is resistance training. So what you want to do is multi-joint exercises, i.e., 2 joints or more are working. If you're doing an exercise that works your shoulder and your knee, you see them both moving at the same time, then you're doing something that's going to employ more of your body. Don't worry about spot training. Don't worry about just trying to get your abs, or just trying to get your legs, or just trying to get your chest or your arms right. Your body, especially at this age, is going to train uniformly. So what you want to do is big muscle group, small muscle group, core. You want to warm up with something to get your heart rate up. Big muscle group, small muscle group, core. Big muscle groups, chest, back, legs. Small muscle groups, shoulders, biceps, triceps, calves. All right. And then your core is your core. You know what that is. But your core is also your back. So think about that as well. So or your lower back. So if you do those things and to figure out how much weight you want to lift, if you're lifting, just time yourself. If you're lifting at just clean reps, good execution, and in 30 seconds or less, all of a sudden you can't lift that anymore, that's the weight you want to be at. If you can't lift for 10 or 15 seconds without struggling, you need to go down in weight. If you're lifting for a year straight and ain't feeling nothing, you need to go up in weight. When you get to that 30 to 45 seconds, and that's when you start to burn out, that's your weight at any given point in time. So that will change as you get stronger. So just pay attention to the time. So use a time. Don't worry about like how many reps and all kind of stuff. Just set the time for 45 seconds. And if you can't make it through all 45 seconds, but you're above 30 seconds, you're in the right zone. Rest for 2 minutes in between exercises. Do 3 or 4 of each of those exercises, and you will have an amazing workout.
I want to thank both of you for spending some time with us. You two are truly the best in the business, not just for the body, but also, for the fitness soul, to make sure that you are fit in any way, shape, or form. Dr. Rowe, congratulations on the new show. It's on Sirius XM Mondays,
Channel 141.
Channel 141, 2:00 on Mondays. On Wednesdays and Fridays at 1:00. And look, thank you all so much. Like I said, Dr. Rowe, I really think you need to, have a little subtitle, Everything Rowe Black Don't Crack. Cootie on here, 53, looking 23.
How about that? How about that? When he said 53, I was like, wait, what?
Right, exactly.
That's not calling the kettle black.
Hey, there you go. Look, thank you all so very, very much. And we will certainly be in touch. And happy and healthy holidays to you.
Yes, be your best. Happy holidays to both of you and everybody listening.
There you go. That is the Daily Drum for this Friday, December 5th. For News Director Renee Nash, I'm Harold Fisher. Good night and have a wonderful weekend.